Sri Lanka Standard Institute is a very important stakeholder in the organic agriculture value chain. Therefore, today we have invited Mr. K. Anil to talk about the institution and its role in the organic agriculture operations in the country. Mr. Anil, welcome to the webinar series.
Yes, good morning.
Mr. Anil, why don't we start with a small introduction to yourself?
Yes, my name is Anil Kahadu. I have been appointed as a standard testing officer to this institution 1994. I'm now, my service is around close to 29 years. Presently, I am working as the Senior Deputy Director of the Agriculture Section of SLSI. My basic background is in BSc Agriculture from the University of Peradeniya and Master of Science in Fisheries Management. And I am a Food Safety Management System Lead Auditor.
Thank you, Mr. Anil. It's a very impressive work experience and educational background. Thank you very much for that. Now, Mr. Anil, now what I would like you to focus on next is about the institution itself. Can we have a small background to the institution as well? What is Sri Lanka Standard Institute? What's its mandate, when it started, and very brief introduction.
Sri Lanka Standard Institution initially started at the Bureau of Ceylon Standards in 1964, but the organization has been restructured under the Act Number 6, Sri Lanka Standard Institution, Act Number 6, 1984. The main role of the Sri Lanka Standard Institution, main responsibility is to formulate national standards. Basically, there are different types of national standards. Mainly, we prepare product specification that prescribe biological, chemical, and physical requirements for the products, sampling methods, test methods, code of practices, service standards, and some auditable standard for certification. For instance, this organic certification standard SLS 1324, good agriculture requirements for good agricultural practices. Then there are some other standard elderly home certification, supermarket certification. We prepare quite different type of national standard, but basically these standards are voluntary documents. These are not act or regulations or legal documents, but any competent authority or the regulatory organization can impose their regulation referring these standard requirements of these standards.
Thank you very much for that comprehensive, elaborated, explanation on the mandate of the Sri Lanka Standard Institute. Now, Mr. Anil, being in a government organization, I'm sure you have to deal with a lot of stakeholders. And I would like you to focus a little bit on the organic value chain. And when it's come to organic value chain, who are your major stakeholders?
Except formulation of the standard, one of our departments doing organic certification. Now they are in the process to get accreditation. Then the organic producers or the operators are their stakeholders. But when we formulate the standard, in our standard formulation process, we have established a working group for the organic agriculture. That working group consists of different members from the university academia, Department of Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Plantation, crop research institutions, organic producers, exporters, importers, non-governmental organizations, and members from EDB, Labor Department, and Central Environmental Authority or Ministry of Environment.
Now, I would like to focus especially on the national organic standards, because this is something we talked about all the time, and we talked about this with different stakeholders, and now it's SLSI's term to discuss that. Now, when it comes to national organic standards, Mr. Anil, what is SLSI's role in it?
National Organic Standard SLS 1324 is the requirement for organic agriculture production and processing. Sri Lanka Standard Institute is the organization to formulate that standard. Now we have received a request to amend the standard because that existing standard, the scope of the existing standard covers the raw material for organic agriculture. But in the text of the standard, in the requirement, under the requirements, it has not adequately prescribed the requirements for production and supply of organic inputs such as compost and other organic fertilizers, soil amendments, biofertilizers, biopesticide, herbal extracts. Those are not covered, not properly prescribed in the text of the standard. Now we are in the process to amend the existing standard, amend or revise the standard using the same working group committee I explained earlier. And we have some supporting standards for the organic agriculture. SLSI has already formulated liquid organic fertilizer standard SLS 1702, and there are 3 compost standards. Out of 3 compost standards, two standards cannot be used for organic agriculture. Those are just municipal solid waste and crop residue compost, but we have formulated another standard, compost for organic agriculture, and code of practice for production of compost. Now we are in the process to formulate new standard biofertilizer. It's in the final stage. Usually, when we receive a request or when we identify a requirement for the formulation of standard, first step is to prepare a basic draft. Then we call or we establish a working group for further discussion, and we do sample testing when required. And ultimately, it is circulated for the public hearing for 60 days time. Then the standard draft is approved by the Agricultural Sectoral Committee and Council of SLSI. Now the biofertilizer is under the Sectoral Committee approval stage. Then we have another couple of standards. We have initiated a number of projects related to this organic agriculture. Now the biochar standard is in working in public comments period. You all can see it in the SLSI website, and you can comment, and we are welcome your all comments on the draft standards. Then another standard is biofertilizer. It's working group level. Then we just started the project for biopesticide, or the organic pesticide for organic farming agriculture. Those are the supporting standards we have prepared, and we are doing preparation of the standards related to organic agriculture.
Thank you for that explanation on the standards and also the standard formulation process. It's very important for us to understand that standard formulation is not an easy task. It takes time, and it takes quite a lot of stakeholder consultation as well. And Mr. Anil, you touched upon a very important point, which is the scope of the National Organic Standard. Now, it seems like the scope is changing and evolving. It's getting added by more factors. Are there any other areas that you are talking about, especially in terms of the scope of the National Organic Standard?
We have not yet identified to extend the scope except this inputs for the organic agriculture, but time being we may do when we call the next working group meeting, we might get some more information to extend the scope of the standard.
Thank you, Mr. Anil. And Mr. Anil, now, exporters and producers, processors, and exporters, they do get certification from, certification bodies. There are several certification bodies in the country which have the accreditation, international accreditation and local accreditation as well. So once the national organic standards comes into effect, for exporters, producers, and processors, do they have to get a different certification? How this already existing certification or authorities link together?
According to the NOCU Act, National Organic Control Unit Act under Export Development Board, it is necessary to obtain NOCU logo for the local marketing sales of organic products with the name of organic. But I think there should be some improvements, some changes or the amendments to that act. That act just refer the word organic. I think that is not adequate, just organic. The wording should be changed. Wording should be changed as anyone using the word organic intentionally for promoting of their agricultural products shall be obtain the permission from NOCU. Otherwise, the just word organic will get more complication. And the worldwide, according to the IFA accreditation requirements, when any organization any international organization obtain accreditation from any accreditation board accepted worldwide, the NOCU should provide opportunity to sell in Sri Lanka with their logo, not only limited to the Sri Lanka Accreditation Board. I propose it at the advisory committee and we have to have some awareness to the community. We have to provide the awareness among the population, among the farmers and users of the agricultural products on organic agriculture principles and processes. The knowledge is not adequate. Knowledge on the organic agriculture is not sufficient, and knowledge on the regulation is also a deficient part.
Thank you, Mr. Anil. Now, Mr. Anil, when we look at our exports, organic exports, quite a lot of organic exports goes to European Union region. And as we all know, there are changes happening to EU standards. And so my question is, when you look at the changes into the EU regulations, and when you look at the standards which are being formulated in the country, especially the national organic standards, will there be significant impacts on the national organic standards because of the EU regulation changes?
Yes, we consider all the information. When the EU regulation and the overseas standards and regulation change, we are always trying to harmonize with our organic standards and the regulation with the international situation. Otherwise, we are in it's a difficult situation to compete with, to export our product to European market and other possible markets such as North America, Japan, China. As SLSI, we are trying to update our standard with the international scenario, and NOCU also, they are doing amendments and changes, updating their regulation and procedures.
In your opinion, what are the major bottlenecks that we have in implementing these organic standards in the country?
One is the knowledge and the awareness among the farmers and the entire society. The second one is testing charges, because the organic agriculture production and processing is a type of system. But certain auditors, the organic certification auditors, inspectors, or some people, they are just based on testing of traces, pesticide residues, potentially toxic elements. But usually we do inspect, we do audit the organic process, and when needs only, we have to do some testing as a verification method to verify the process. But number of auditors, they recommend for many tests, periodically test. And the testing cost is one of the bottleneck. Testing cost is very high in our country. And supply of inputs, organic inputs is a issue in Sri Lanka, because farmers are trying to do organic agriculture, but they are not having enough organic fertilizer and organic pesticide. As the knowledge, the inputs is also a problem.
You mentioned a very interesting point that's related to testing. This we have seen coming up when we speak to other stakeholders as well. And one of the things that came up is that most of the laboratories, even the accredited laboratories in the country, do not have enough capacity to test what the exporter or the importer is requesting. So what is your opinion on that? Do we don't have enough capacities?
No, our own laboratory can't analyze pesticide residues. But there are a number of laboratories, the private organizations, as well as government, ITI, Department of Agriculture, universities. They have equipped laboratories for pesticide residues testing, but testing cost is very high. Some farmers, their certification cost and testing charges altogether, it might be $500,000 or more than that.
Mr. Anil, now I want to shift your focus from exports to local production, because when we talk about even export value chains, you can't promote an export value chain without looking at the domestic markets as well. And one of the things that we increasingly talk about in Sri Lanka is PGA systems, so participatory guarantee systems. Mr. Anil, in your opinion, what's the importance of having things like PGA systems in the country to strengthen the local organic movements?
It is one of the ways to popularize organic agriculture products in the market. Very simple kind of certification scheme is required instead of this complicated certification scheme. Now we are in the process to formulate the national standard for participatory guarantee system. But some people presently involved with some related activities, they are they don't agree, they are not willing to get the national standard for PGS, but still we are trying. We explain them the standard is not make some bottlenecks for the organic agriculture production in the country. We are just trying to help, and this is not a complicated standard, very relaxed standard containing the basic requirements for organic farming only, but it is not a regulation. But still we are struggling to get consents from all the relevant parties.
The last question that I would pose you is about communication. Now, being a government organization, I'm sure there are established channels where stakeholders, let's say producers, processors, exporters, can come and link with you. So I want you to give a little bit of details on how stakeholders can engage with you, and what are the departments that they should go and meet, and maybe you can direct them in terms of the communication with your organization.
Now we are receiving number of communication from the stakeholders through the SLSI website, mobile numbers. Our mobile numbers we are giving to the customers, and SLSI general land phone numbers. Any stakeholder can contact SLSI. Unlike other government department or regulatory body, we are not a government regulatory body. We are a semi-government statutory organization. Any customer, we always help, we always communicate, we welcome communication, and we do communication to the customers. We collect information, we send in our leaflets, and our draft standards for public comments, we post them.
Right. Thank you, sir. But I want to pose one final question to you. Just because your background in agriculture and your wealth of experience in this particular sector and specifically on the organic agriculture, so what would your advice for upcoming entrepreneurs into this organic agriculture based on your wealth of experience?
Yes, first we have to educate them. People think that organic agriculture is a quite difficult thing, but it's a kind of art and kind of science. We have to explain them the way of doing organic agriculture, and we have to provide them information for getting the inputs, especially seed, planting material, fertilizer, pesticide, and train them to prepare their own inputs inside the farms. Main thing is provide training and awareness. And I think for the local organic certification, the certification holders, the farmers, subsidiary scheme can be introduced them to get certification, and low cost testing facility to be established in the Department of Agriculture and the Crop Research Institute to get the testing of the samples from very low price. And market should be expanded. The knowledge of the customer should be improved on organic products. Then we can improve organic agriculture sector in Sri Lanka by simple way.
Well, with that, we come to the conclusion of our discussion. Mr. Anil, thank you very much for allowing us to have this discussion with you despite your busy schedule. We pay our gratitude for that, and thank you very much. And for those who viewed us, thank you for joining with us, and we hope to see you with another episode quite soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chatura and GIZ staff for organizing this one on behalf of SLSI.